$199 per month. Get a $7,500 rebate or 0%.
Hi, folks. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jay Cardosa here at WLKY. We just got our first tornado warning of the evening posted off to the west of the metro and not too far away either, just 30 miles or so. Brand new tornado warning has just been issued for portions of Crawford County as well as western Harrison County. This goes until 9:15 Eastern Daylight Time. A pretty strong storm that has been intensifying slowly over the past hour. It first developed actually out around Evansville, has been moving slowly eastbound and slowly kind of congealing into a better rotating thunderstorm, if you will. And you can see some very heavy rainfall, lightning and thunder along Interstate 64, just off to the west of Corydon, and especially across southern portions of Crawford County. What I'll do is I'll take the warning off, and I'm going to zoom in tight here for you, and we'll actually try to get right down to street level mapping and show you where some of that rotation is occurring. As we go ahead and take a look at the velocity structure of this particular thunderstorm, yeah, if you look real close here, you have red. Those are winds that are blowing towards the top left portion of your TV set. Green, the opposite direction. And notice the tight couplet right there. So again, this is radar indicated to this point, but this is a developing storm. And keep in mind, we've been talking about this scenario. We've been talking about this environment, how conducive it is for severe weather by late today into tonight. There's a lot of wind energy we're dealing with as these thunderstorms pop up. They're tapping into some of that wind energy aloft and bringing it down towards the ground in the form of a damaging straight line wind gust. Well, in this case, we have enough twisting and turning going on that we're actually getting the possibility of a tornado as well. So as I go ahead and pull out here just a little bit, I'm going to track this for you. The storm is moving off towards the east, and I'm tracking the most dangerous part of the storm, the rotation or the tornadic part. It's moving off to the east, slightly south of east at speeds of around 25 miles per hour. So as long as it continues on that track, we're talking Beechwood, 850, you will be in the path of some of that dangerous twisting of the winds. Magnolia, 854, the Carefree area, right around 9 o'clock or so, and Leavenworth, right around 9 o'clock as well. And that's going to carry it on into western portions of Harrison County. So again, if you are in portions of Crawford County, western Harrison County, if you're in this warn zone, please get to your tornado warning safety spot immediately. A tornado warning has been issued for your area for about the next half hour or so. There's the warning once again until 9:15. This is Crawford County. That's extreme northeastern Perry County right there. And then we have western portions of Harrison County. This is west of the Corydon area. But again, this storm is moving off to the east, kind of parallel to Interstate 64. And I think that trend will continue, no doubt, as we move deeper into the evening. Again, this is just one storm that is starting to pop up. Other thunderstorms are also starting to pop up across the WLKY viewing area. As I pull out, you can see there's a bunch of thunderstorm activity off to the north. In between, let's say, Seymour and Indianapolis, these storms have been severe for the better part of the last 3 to 4 hours, and they're showing signs of sinking off towards the southeast. In addition, we have other thunderstorms that are trying to pop out here in southeastern Illinois. As a cold front nears, okay, I think we'll see additional thunderstorms blow up across southern portions of Indiana over the next 1 to 2 hours, and then everything will kind of congeal and then move southeasterly across the metro and then down into the Commonwealth late evening through the early overnight. Okay, do keep in mind we'd have the tornado watch that goes until 3 o'clock in the morning. That watch is for the entire WLKY viewing area. So the threat is there for strong to severe storms, some of which will produce some hail, some high winds, and even some isolated tornado spin-ups. We're going to have to watch for that as we move deeper and deeper into the evening. Take you outside right now, and you can see a live picture. This is from the tower cam right here on Melwood Avenue, looking back towards Greater Louisville. Things are quiet here in the metro. Here's another vantage point. This is from the Sheraton in Jeffersonville, and you can see those towering clouds off to the west. We're looking down the Ohio River, and these are some of the bigger storms that are becoming severe and producing at least the chance for a little bit of hail and that tornado threat as well. And they are moving steadily eastbound. Hopefully they'll weaken as they approach the metro, but as it stands right now, again, nasty weather just off to the west of the metro area with that tornado warning in effect. So let's go ahead and zoom in once again. Tornado warning. If you're just now joining us, let's tell you what's going on. We have the tornado watch that's in effect until 3 a.m. and now we have a tornado warning. If you reside here in portions of Crawford County, western sections of Harrison County, get to that basement immediately. If you look real close, you can see kind of a pendant hanging down on the southwest flank of this storm. That's what we call a hook echo right there. We'll have to wait and see. What I want to do, I want to take a look at what we call the correlation coefficient here. See this varying color? Typically, this product now, if you have nothing but this magenta shade, that's telling me that you have all one type of a product in the atmosphere, raindrops in other words. But if you have differing colors, if you get into greens and blues and they're co-located with the rotation, that's telling me that we might have something developing. We'll have to wait and see. I'll have to check the NWS chat room and see what's going on, and we'll make some calls to law enforcement officials. But there could be something developing here, something reaching down towards the ground. A little early to tell, but you are underneath a tornado warning if you're in this area. So I'm talking places like West Fork, Sulphur, Carefree, Fredonia, Leavenworth, all here in southeastern portions of Crawford County, and then just off to the west of Corydon in western Harrison County. Please get to your basement and stay there until the danger has passed. This is a dangerous looking storm as the rotation seems to be tightening just a little bit. Again, red, winds blowing towards the top portion of your TV set. Green, the opposite direction, so the rotation is right there, very close to Interstate 64, just north of Highway 62. This zone is really ground zero for a potential developing tornado that we'll have to watch, and it's moving slowly off towards the east at speeds of only 20-25 miles an hour. So as I kind of pull out, I'll put a storm track on that for you and track the most dangerous part. It seems to be running parallel to I-64. So Magnolia, 852. Right about now, in other words, Carefree in a couple of minutes, 8:57, and the Moberly area around 9:17 if it holds together as it moves into western portions of Harrison County. So again, folks, please, if you're in this tornado warning, get to your place of safety immediately. Stay there, of course. The absolute best spot, a basement. If you don't have a basement, lowest level of your house, an interior room, you want to put as many walls between you and the outside to help slow down and stop any debris that could be flying around. So it's a dangerous looking storm, and this is the only storm we have right now in the viewing area that has gone severe, but we'll likely see additional warnings issued probably within the next few hours as these storms continue to grow upscale across the region. So let's pull out, take a look at the entire viewing area. So we have that little hook echo, that supercell that has formed in eastern Crawford County, and we have additional storms not really showing signs of all that much development One just west of Madison, close to Hanover, perhaps just west of Hanover. Another one holding just north of Salem. Another little shower that has shown signs of popping and then weakening and then popping. And that's what's been going on. The strongest updrafts then take over, and you can quickly get a severe thunderstorm, but you can see how widely scattered the activity is. Now, again, the main cold front is still holding off to the west and northwest of us, out in this general area. As this moves off to the east-southeast, we'll see additional thunderstorms pop up across much of this region. They'll grow upscale. They could be strong to severe. That's the environment we have in the atmosphere tonight. And then they will settle off towards the southeast. It does appear that a majority of those storms, at least the highest chances for thunderstorms in and around the metro, will likely come anywhere from about 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm talking widespread thunderstorms. We could get a shower or a storm prior to that, but that's the way it's looking right now. We'll have to watch this little supercell as well because, again, this is tracking due east. Hopefully it will weaken before it reaches the metro, before it reaches the Corridon area. But as it stands right now, it is showing signs of some pretty intense rotation. So we'll make some calls to law enforcement officials and National Weather Service personnel and get an idea as to what this thing is actually doing. Once again, we have the tornado watch that goes until 3 o'clock in the morning. What I'd like to do is actually show you the future cast. This has a great handle as to what's going on. Here we are around 9:30. Notice the scattered strong storms that are popping. Now keep in mind, this is a forecast product. This is an actual radar, but watch what happens. The storms kind of grow upscale, move across the region. They're going to be around for a while, and then finally, as we head towards very late tonight, early tomorrow morning, everything will get a kickoff towards the southeast, and the severe threat will be ending. But from this point on, from now until much of the overnight, we're going to be dealing with these strong and severe storms across the better part of the region. All right, back to the radar here. We'll kind of reset, show you what's going on. Nothing happening across the Commonwealth. Things are very, very quiet. South of the metro, down near the parkways, we're in good shape. We just have this one intense thunderstorm that has formed, produced that tornado warning that is sitting here in southeastern portions of Crawford County, moving steadily off to the east, slowly at speeds of around 20 miles per hour or so. And we'll zoom in even tighter here for you, get an idea of where the strongest rotation is. It appears to be right there, just south of Magnolia, very close to Magnolia. This is the Hook Echo right here. You have the inflow coming into the storm, the warm, moist air, and then it spirals up into the thunderstorm itself. If that rotation tightens, it can come down to the ground in the form of either a damaging wind gust or a tornado spin-up, and that's what we're dealing with. So we're talking places like Carefree, Magnolia, very close to the I-64 corridor. This is Highway 62 from Beechwood down to Leavenworth. This is the area of southeastern Crawford County and then eventually on into western Harrison County that is under the gun for a potential tornado. We need you in your basement if you would. And by the way, if you have friends and family out in this area, they may not be watching TV. Give them a quick text, give them a quick call, tell them what's going on, tell them what's in their area. I'm sure they know that the skies are dark, but tell them that this is a dangerous storm for me. Help me spread the word as this storm moves slowly off towards the east. Let's take a look at some other hazards that this storm may or may not be producing. Hail, don't really see anything out there. That's some good news. As we take a look at the shear rate or the twisting and turning, okay? This is where the highest twisting and turning of the winds is presently located, and it's right there where I was talking about, Interstate 64, close to the Carefree area, moving off to the east steadily at speeds of around 20-25 miles per hour. Also, of course, this thing is producing lots of heavy rainfall. Some of the rainfall, I mean, this might be a little bit of hail. A little bit of small hail, but the rainfall, I mean, if this thing were to hold stationary for 1 hour, you'd get nearly 7 inches of rain. Obviously, that's not going to happen because the storm is moving, but that tells me that this could indeed produce some ponding. It's very close to the interstate, obviously, and could produce a little bit of lowland flooding in areas because we've had so much rainfall anyway the past couple of days. So something to keep in mind. So heavy rainfall, perhaps a little bit of small hail, but of immediate threat is that potential tornado. I haven't heard of an actual touchdown across the region, but we're monitoring that. We're monitoring the chat rooms, making our phone calls to law enforcement officials. And if we hear something differently, of course, we'll pass that on to you. But we have to assume that this storm could produce a tornado at any time. That's what we will do, okay? So we need you to be in your basement, certainly for the next several minutes. This warning goes until 9:15 Eastern Daylight Time, southeastern Crawford County, western Harrison County. Stay in your basement until the danger has passed. Let's go back to the reflectivity or the actual rainfall pattern. I'll pull out here a little bit, and you can still see the heavy core off to the north of the rotation, which is hugging the Interstate 64 corridor right now, moving off to the east at a fairly slow clip, about 20 miles per hour or so. Again, we'll track that for you. Moving eastbound, about 20 miles an hour. And you can see the Moberly area here in the path of the rotating part of the storm. About 9:18. Hopefully the rotation will continue to weaken and this thing will be done. But as it stands right now, still a rotating thunderstorm, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado. So we need you in your basement. Again, if you are here close to Leavenworth or just north of there to near Carefree on into extreme western portions of Harrison County. Additional thunderstorms are popping, as you can see, off to the northeast of there. This is northern portions of Floyd County. This is western sections of Clark. This storm has just recently intensified. And again, these storms are popping up in an environment that's conducive to severe weather. A lot of wind energy, a lot of wind shear, both speed shear, directional shear to get those clouds rotating. And warm and moist outside. My goodness, temperatures in the 80s today. Dew point temperatures up around 70, feeling like a July afternoon. So you have that type of an air mass in a spring atmosphere. You can get some crazy weather, some intense weather. That's why we've been worried about this afternoon and also this evening. Well, here we go. These scattered storms are now starting to pop across the area. So again, you can see they're just that. They're widely scattered to isolated, at least for now. But as we move deeper into the evening, I think we will see additional storms pop up across the WLKY viewing area. A couple of cells out here in southwestern Indiana, and they're really starting to go a little bit better now in portions of Illinois as that cold front nears and pushes in from the west and also the northwest. Heavy thunderstorms producing torrential downpours, hail, and occasional tornadoes up here to the east-southeast of Indianapolis. Those are pushing towards Dayton and north of Cincy. Those will stay north of the viewing area, but I am worried that we could see additional development right in this general area a little bit later on over the next, let's call it 1 to 2 hours. And as those storms pop, they will start moving off to the east and also the southeast towards the region. So we'll have to watch for that and watch it very, very closely. So again, just that one tornado warning. This is going to go for about the next 13 minutes or so until 9:15, and we're going to stay with you. Let me zoom in tight. Let's take a look at the rotation. I've got meteorologist Matt Milosevic in, Daniel Johnson as well. They're taking a look at the radars, the analyzer. They're also taking a look at some of the chat rooms, talking with National Weather Service personnel. And I got to tell you, this storm is not looking all that good anymore. Matt, you got your mic on?
I got mine on, Jay.
Daniel, you do. Okay. Have you seen anything coming in from NWS?
Yeah, so it was about 5 minutes ago the National Weather Service chimed in and said there was a report of a wall cloud around Carefree.
Okay.
That's when the radar was a little more impressive, that imagery you showed a few minutes ago. But now they're mentioning it continues to weaken.
Yeah.
But given the environment right now, there's still some gate-to-gate rotation that they're watching, so they're going to keep the warning for now.
Yeah, it looks to me right now, I mean, we've got a decent wind gust that's coming out of this thing. It looks like the rear flank downdraft is really starting to take over and blow out of this thing, so there could be a damaging wind gust right there on the Crawford-Harrison County line. As far as a tornadic circulation, I don't see evidence of that all that much. There's a little bit of rotation right there, okay, near 64, just north of there. And again, that is right on the Harrison-Crawford County line, but that rotation has weakened. We'll also have to watch that part of the cell as well. So a couple of areas of rotation we will continue to monitor. Keep in mind, the atmosphere is juiced up on this Tuesday evening, so any of these storms, the more intense cores, could easily become supercellular and produce severe weather, including isolated tornadoes as we move deeper on into the evening. So we'll go ahead and we'll put back on the reflectivity and we'll pull back out. We'll take a look at the entire region. Yeah, I have to admit that storm, which was at least the characteristics of it over the past 15 to 20 minutes as it was looking quite nasty on the radar scan. Things are improving as far as the tornado threat goes. It looks like the threat is a little bit lower, at least for now. So that is some good news. All right, keep in mind, folks, we do have the tornado watch that continues, and this goes until 3 o'clock in the morning. My goodness, this watch encompasses the entire WLKY viewing area. That simply means that conditions are ripe for severe thunderstorms, including isolated tornadoes. And we're going to have to wait and see what happens. Yeah, that is an impressive looking storm right there. Let me show you the tower cam. Daniel, which camera is that?
The tower camera, yeah, it's a pretty cool view of the storm here from here in Louisville.
Is that the Sheraton?
It is, I'm sorry, yes, the Sheraton.
All right, let me show you that camera right there. There's that thunderstorm right there. I mean, it's going straight up in the atmosphere. Some of the storm tops upwards of around 30, maybe even 40,000 feet. As a matter of fact, I can show you that, just how tall these things are. And we can get an idea as to what's going on there. Yeah, we got some impressive storms blowing up on this Tuesday evening. Here are the storm tops. And of course, the taller the cloud top, the more intense the updraft, the stronger the thunderstorm. And you can plainly see that this storm right now is upwards of around 45,000 feet. Some pretty impressive stuff moving across the region. Daniel, anything else from the National Weather Service? Yeah,
they continue to say what you're saying, that the latest scans of radar continue to show the storm really falling apart right now, which is some good news. So radar indications showing that it's weakening, and it looks like it will continue to do that. The National Weather Service says they're holding on to the warning just a little bit longer, given the environment. But as you mentioned, Jay, as that cold front to our west gets closer, we're going to start to see some more storms bubble up, which is why that tornado watch is in effect until 3.
Yeah, no question about it. All right, so let's put back on the reflectivity field here for you. There we go. Yeah, that storm is not looking nearly as impressive, so some good news. We'll watch this storm too. It looks like it has a little bit of a pendant, nice little inflow notch there. That's on the Floyd-Clark County line moving off to the east. Not really all that strong just yet, and hopefully that trend will certainly continue. But those are the thunderstorms that are close to the metro. We have additional little cells trying to pop up near Madison and out in Martin County, and then some bigger storms here in southeastern Illinois. So as everything continues to move in our direction, I do think these scattered storms will become more and more numerous as the evening hours unfold. So again, we're on the air with you tonight on this Tuesday evening. The threat for severe weather is increasing across the WLKY viewing area as we have a tornado warning that has been issued. This was issued around 8:45 for sections of Crawford County as well as western Harrison County. A really nasty looking cell, at least over the past 15 minutes, but since that time, it has weakened quite a bit. The rotation has also weakened. Hopefully that trend will continue and we can get you back to programming here in relatively short order. But as it stands right now, we're going to stay with this one just to make sure, because this is one of those atmospheres tonight that is very conducive to severe weather. There is a ton of wind energy in the atmosphere. Hey, you go south of the metro, not much happening. Things are very, very quiet. I think that trend will continue for the next couple of hours. You go north of town, well, you have these scattered strong storms just north and west of Louisville. Again, this one, the tornado warned storm, is weakening. That is some good news. Hopefully that trend will continue. And then you go farther north and west, you get into much more intense activity that is more numerous storms closer to the cold front. And as that front moves in our direction, I do think we'll see an uptick in the showers and storms closer to the Ohio River, including the metro. And that will happen a little bit later on tonight into the early morning hours of tomorrow as well. Matt, you got the microphone on?
I do, Jay.
All right. I can't hear you. Do we have it on, guys?
Do you hear me? Yeah, gotcha.
Do we have it on?
You should have me.
Okay, there you go. Yeah. You're on now. You got the analyzer up and running there, Matt?
We do, Jay. I see the exact same thing that you've been talking about, something that's getting a little more downdraft or straight line wind oriented with these. I can argue for perhaps still some 50+ mile per hour wind gusts with these. So we'll be on the lookout for it, no doubt, as we look through the duration of this warning over the next few minutes. But just like what you said, this is a storm that looked better several minutes ago. A couple of reports from the National Weather Service of some trees down around the Sulphur area, and as well as some power lines. That was a caller reported into the Milltown Police Department. So while this storm was stronger, that was a system that was creating some perhaps a strong wind gust there. Also looking just a little bit at some of the hail potential in that one as well, Jay. There may be some hailstones with it as well. That's also part of our atmospheric setup, is for the potential of some large hail as well. But overall, the rotation continues to look little to none, but you can see right there, it does look like a continuation of the tornado warning nonetheless. And to give you the latest information on that, Jay, that's going to go until 9:45. It is still a storm capable of producing a tornado located near Corydon, moving east at 30 miles per hour. It continues to be radar indicated. But again, Jay, this goes until now 9:45. It includes the Corydon area, Lanesville, as well as parts of Floyd County if it holds together, including the Georgetown area, and it looks like just south of Greenville.
Okay, so there you go, folks. The warning has been extended now to include Corydon and just off to the east of there on into sections of Floyd County. If you reside in northern portions of Harrison County, please get to your shelter immediately. Stay there until the danger has passed, as you are now underneath a tornado warning for the next several minutes. Again, the safest spot to go is, of course, a basement. No basement, lowest level of your house, interior room. You want to get away from any and all windows. The more walls you have between you and the outside, the better chances you have to stop any and all flying debris, which is really the #1 killer when it comes to tornadoes. And if you can, get underneath something sturdy, maybe a workbench, a strong, sturdy table, something like that. Cover yourself up with pillows and blankets. Mobile homes, you know, get away from those things. Those things are no match for tornadic winds, and seek shelter in a reinforced area. Maybe it's a restaurant, maybe it's a gas station, maybe it's a friend's house, things like that. So think about those things as these storms head your way. So once again, new tornado warning has just been issued for now sections of the Corydon area. Here's Harrison County. There's Interstate 64 over towards Georgetown. This also includes you folks in Lanesville and very, very close to Greenville, perhaps just south of there. Galena, as I mentioned, Georgetown, might even clip Edwardsville as well. So if you're in this area, please get to your tornado warning shelter area and stay there until the danger has passed on by. We'll take a look at the wind velocity here. Matt, did they? Yeah, it's an uptick just a little bit.
I would think so. I mean, it is still a storm that is organized, you know, and
with the environment we have, that's...
Of course.
Yeah.
We look at severe weather parameters often in the springtime here in the WLKY Weather Center, and this one, not unlike what we saw a few weeks ago, Jay, with some of the severe storms and the tornadoes that we had in the metro area. That's the type of environment that we are looking at in this particular storm situation. So that's why you've heard us talk about severe alert days, both today and also in effect for tomorrow. And it doesn't mean everyone's going to see severe weather, but when we get storms forming in this environment, the potential will be there. And this is a storm that we're tracking that's already produced some tree and power line damage in a portion of Crawford County. That was phoned in to the Milltown Police Department just several minutes ago. And what is likely occurring here, and one of the things the Weather Service mentioned, is that we're in kind of a rear flank downdraft surge, Jay. And you can see that on the velocities. Latest scan hinting at perhaps 60 to 65 mile per hour, more straight line wind gust with that. And I think out of an abundance of caution, they just continued that warning further downstream as it moves a little closer to some larger areas like Corydon and into Floyd County there along the 64 corridor.
Yeah, I agree 100% there, Matt. I mean, so far, though, we have the wall cloud sighting, but that's it, correct?
Yeah, we have no reports currently of anything that is on the ground. This continues to be a radar-indicated tornado.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so let's go ahead and pull out, Daniel. Let's take a look at the entire viewing area once again. Go back to our reflectivity. We'll kind of reset here for you and take a look at what's going on. So this is the only warning we have in the WLKY viewing area. Unfortunately, it's a tornado warning. It goes for the next several minutes, and it does encompass the Corydon area and then points off to the east. It's kind of running parallel to Interstate 64. Now, hopefully it will weaken, but you know what? If you're watching from New Albany, if you're watching from the west end of the metro, don't put down your guard. We have to watch out for this storm that's going to be moving in this direction, moving in the direction of the metro here, probably within the next 30 minutes or so, okay? Hopefully it will weaken, but again, it has shown signs of trying to cycle, if you will. So that's why the tornado warning has been reissued across the area. That is the only severe storm we have in the WLKY viewing area. We have additional strong and severe storms off to the north. Some pretty heavy storms trying to form west and northwest of Vincennes. Not yet severe. Hopefully they won't be, but nonetheless, we'll watch it. And a brand new tornado warning just now issued for another storm here in Clark County. So NWS is likely looking at these storms, starting to look at the rotation in these cells, and they're not messing around as far as you know, is it a tornado? Could it produce a tornado? I mean, the atmosphere has a ton of wind energy in it tonight and a lot of twisting and turning. It would not take much to get that tornado down towards the ground, and that is a pretty decent couplet right there. Notice the bright reds. Those are strong winds blowing towards the top portion of your TV set. Green, the bottom portion of your TV set. There's Starlight, Indiana. This is western sections of Clark County, and you can see the tornadic part of the storm, the strong circulation, the couplet moving off in an east-northeasterly direction at speeds of around 20 to 30 miles per hour. There's Highway 60. This is 65 pushing north towards Memphis. So if you are in central portions of Clark County, get into your basement right now. Tornado warning in effect for you as well. This is the second tornado warning for the WLKY viewing area, getting very close to the metro now, immediately north, immediately west of downtown Louisville. So we'll have to be on our guard, even around the metro going forward the next 30 to 60 minutes. There is one velocity couplet holding west of Corydon on Interstate 64, and here's the other one, which, Matt, by the way, this one here in western portions of Clark County, west of Sellersburg, that one looks to be more intense and a little bit tighter as well, something that is and could produce a tornado.
Jay, I was looking just at the most recent scans of the radar there. The last two have really shown that beginning to ramp up, even though the actual radar image, you know, we see the little bit of the hook right there in the center of your screen. But overall, you know, the storm off to the south and west in Harrison County looks better on radar when we're talking about looking at the reflectivity and the rainfall. But when we do turn on that storm relative velocity, this couplet right here, as you were mentioning, Jay, right through portions of Clark County there, headed likely between Sellersburg and Memphis in the I-65 corridor. That light shade of pink that I'm highlighting with the cursor right now indicates winds 70 miles per hour. On the opposite side of that, 20. So a gate-to-gate shear of around 90 miles per hour with this particular storm. And if anything, over the last couple of scans, I'll get it in the frame here so you can see, we'll go forward. That area is starting to ramp up just in the last couple of scans of the radar. Also was looking back at the storm north of Corydon, Jay, and they've kind of adjusted the southern edge of that warning just a little bit here over the last few minutes. And we'll just take a quick look at that storm. Looks like it may be reorganizing there a little bit to the north and west of Corydon. So definitely two cells and storms to watch, but in agreement with you that right now, the one that is in south and western portions of Clark County is the one that looks perhaps the worst out of the two in terms of rotation right now. Still both radar indicated from the National Weather Service. We don't have any ground confirmation on any tornadoes at this moment.
Hey, Matt, could you zoom in on the analyzer there to the northeastern cell? And what about the correlation coefficient? Do you see anything on that? Now, folks, this is a product that picks up light particles in the atmosphere. So, again, I was talking about this earlier. Guys, if you would, put me in key wall with the analyzer behind me. There we go. I just popped in, didn't I? Okay, so like particles in the atmosphere is what this radar product picks up. So when you see everything this magenta color, if you will, that's one type of product. That's one type of particle, I should say. A raindrop, in other words. If we have the darker blues or the greens, and this is very important, they're co-located with the velocity couplet, that could be other particles that are flying around in the atmosphere. In other words, it could be debris from a potential tornado. Matt, what did you see? What was that co-located, or was that?
I'm going to shift it back to you. So here we go. Look at the area of best rotation.
Yep.
And then I'll put that back on. And but I don't see anything that's very you know, tight in terms of a smaller indication there of what we would expect. I'll also put on the vertically integrated liquid there. Maybe there could be a little bit of hail mixing in there as well, but it's definitely something to monitor there. It's showing signs of perhaps a maybe there.
Can you real quick? Can you put it on the velocity for me on this product? Okay, it is close. You're right. So we'll have to wait and see. I mean, everything seems to be lining up. Bottom line, there's a tornado warning in effect. Whether or not we have something on the ground or trying to reach down towards the ground, it's possible, but what we need is everybody to be in their place of safety here in portions of Clark County, including the Memphis area, including Charlestown as well. Even though the actual rotation, the actual couplet, which seems to have weakened just a little bit, as it's moving towards I-65, we still want you to be in your basement, in your tornado-warned shelter area until this thing has either passed on by, the warning has been discontinued, or canceled. But yeah, we have a couple of supercells, certainly, that have formed on this Tuesday evening, immediately north and west of the metro area. The one to the west of town is just north of Corydon, traveling along Interstate 64, at least just north of there, towards the Crandall area. Here's Georgetown. Galena also in this general area, just off to the northeast. There's Lanesville. This is the region. This is holding just south of, let's say, Palmyra right now, okay? And there's the little velocity couplet, which is very broad right now. Doesn't look to be all that impressive, but the one thing we can't forget about is all the wind energy that we have in the atmosphere, and also just how warm and muggy it is. There is a lot of fuel for these storms to pop up across the WLKY viewing area on this Tuesday night.
Yeah, Jay, I think it was the first time today we hit 70 on that dew point, so very tropical summer-style air mass that gives us the instability for these storms. And, of course, if you've been talking about, and we've been tracking all day in the forecast the last couple of days, is all the wind energy with these storms and the concern for this kind of cellular nature with them as well. So as long as they can stay a little more discreet, perhaps a better chance to tap in to some of that rotation in the atmosphere. So definitely have to watch that. As I'm just going to give you a little, just so we can kind of reset here a little bit, the worst of the weather in terms of the more numerous severe thunderstorm and tornado warnings look to be to our north. Doesn't look like anything's popping too much back off to the south. But I know you also mentioned, Jay, we monitor to the north and west too over the next couple hours as we head into the later evening hours. I think there's a little more development kicking up there in the southern portions of Illinois that we'll be monitoring through the next couple hours ahead.
Yeah, a lot of the computer data that's coming in, the short-term computer data that tends to give us where these thunderstorms try to pop, are indeed popping more activity across southwestern Indiana as the cold front nears. So we'll have to watch that scenario, certainly, over the next hour or two.
Hey,
but
Jay,
of immediate concern, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Emergency management in Clark County is chiming in. Reports of a tornado on the ground, according to a 911 caller. Deer Lake Drive area in Clark County, Indiana. There's a report from a 911 caller that there is a tornado on the ground. So National Weather Service is talking with them and getting more information.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Daniel. Do appreciate it. Let's go back to the links. And what I'd like to do, Daniel, is zoom in a little bit tighter here. This is actually the circulation center. It's getting very close to Interstate 65 now. This is likely where that report from that tornado came in. Report of a tornado on the ground in this general area. Daniel, let's also do a storm track moving off towards the northeast there at speeds of around 20 miles per hour or so. And we'll give folks an idea of who's in the path of this storm. And you can see Perry Crossing, 926. Memphis, around 9:30. The Charlestown area, 9:38. So if you're anywhere close to these communities I just named, please be in your basement. Stay there until the danger has passed. This is a rotating supercellular thunderstorm that we now have at least a report of a tornado on the ground from 911. Was that correct, Daniel?
Yeah, now there's multiple people calling in with a tornado on the ground. Perry Crossing area.
Okay, the Perry Crossing area. We have a report of a tornado on the ground. So it would be in this general area. Here's 31, Highway 31. Here's 65. Let's zoom in even tighter there, Daniel. Go right down the street level mapping, if you would, for me. This is where the report of the tornado is coming in. There you go. There's Highway 31, Perry Crossing Road right there, and then this tornado that's on the ground moving off towards the east and also the northeast at speeds of around 20, 25 miles an hour. This is the rotation. All right, so we need you in your basement and stay there until the danger has passed. Matt, what else are you seeing?
Well, Jay, yeah, I was looking, and Daniel mentioned it, the Perry Crossing area, the initial report, the Deer Lake Drive area, is also right there between Starlight and Memphis, so it was immediately west of Interstate 65.
Yeah.
Perry Crossing, there's a neighborhood just west of Interstate 65 that I think we're zoomed into right now, and so these are some of the areas that are currently being affected. And then we look a little farther down the line, the closer we get to Charlestown, so between I-65 and Charlestown, we want to be very much in our tornado warning areas and our storm shelters, because this storm, and there's a couple of videos coming in too, Jay, that don't show necessarily a tornado on the ground, but definitely a well put together storm that is rotating, and again, several 911 calls reporting the tornado on the ground there.
Okay, we'll try and get those videos for you, get them on the air as quickly as we can, but nonetheless, a dangerous thunderstorm producing what looks to be a tornado that's on the ground, or at least was on the ground. Whether or not it's still on the ground remains to be seen, but nonetheless, a well-developed supercellular thunderstorm that is moving steadily off to the east-northeast at speeds of around 20 miles an hour. That's the northeastern tornado warned storm. Then we have the other tornado warning that is sitting here in east central portions of Harrison County in Indiana. Looks like the strongest part of the rotation is now just off to the northeast of Corydon on Interstate 64, and this is pushing towards Georgetown and Lanesville. This is kind of moving parallel to Interstate 64 in east and northeastern Harrison County, heading into western Floyd County. So if you are in, let's say, Crandall, if you are in Georgetown, even if you're in Corydon Junction, New Salisbury, please get to your place of safety and stay there until this thing has passed on through, because there's so much wind energy, so much twisting and turning of the winds. It's not taking much for these actual supercells to produce a tornado. There's the storm track, 929 Crandall, Georgetown 939, 951 Floyd's Knobs, New Albany around 955. If it holds together, it could be impacting portions of New Albany here closer to 10 o'clock tonight. All right. Keep in mind the tornado watch continues until 3 o'clock in the morning. This is just the start of what could be a fairly long evening, as the actual cold front, folks, is still way up here to the northwest of us. And as that moves in our direction, we will likely see additional storms fire up across the WLKY viewing area. But it's a pair of supercellular thunderstorms, both warned for tornadoes. The northeastern storm, at least several reports now coming in of a tornado on the ground very close to the Perry Crossing area, and this is heading towards places like Charlestown. So from Perry Crossing, I-65 over to Charlestown, as Matt just talked about, we need you in your basement and stay there until this thing has passed on by. It's a dangerous storm moving off towards the east-northeast. Not all that quickly either. 20 to 30 miles per hour. Daniel, let's zoom in tight again on the northern tornado warned storm, and let's go over to the velocity scan. Again, you can see that little kidney bean appearance, and yeah, there is still broad rotation here, but as we've seen, I mean, the rotation we picked up with the tornado on the ground was quite broad as well. So it's not taking much for these storms to produce. That is for sure.
I think that's why the National Weather Service is being so cautious and issuing these warnings pretty quickly, because we're seeing impressive velocity signatures that give us an indication that there could be a tornado on the ground. Then it weakens momentarily, then re-strengthens again. We're just in that type of environment where a little bit of this rotation and all this wind energy we have could put down a quick spin up.
Hey, Jay, before you get going, too, we have a report of some, at least what's considered light debris across Interstate 65 just north of the Perry Crossing Drive area. So right kind of at the beginning of that tornado warning polygon there, some reports of at least what is considered light. So I'm going to think perhaps some tree debris, maybe a few roofing shingles and things like that, perhaps reported on Interstate 65 there.
Well, hopefully this thing has lifted. Hopefully it's not going to give us much more of a problem, but nonetheless, tornado was on the ground right around Perry Crossing, has continued to push its way off towards the east-northeast. Here is Stricker Road. You get over towards Stony Point Road, and then you get into the Charlestown area. This is the region, ground zero, for potential tornadic weather here over the next few minutes. If you reside in this region or you have friends and family, give them a quick phone call. Get to your basement, guys, because you know what? Maybe they're not watching TV. They need to know what's going on. Help us spread the word, if you will, and get to that basement, no basement, lowest level of your house in an interior room. Here's Charlestown Memphis Road, as you can see, heading away from the Charlestown area. So this is all ground zero for that possible tornado that could still be on the ground, even though the rotation doesn't look all that impressive. You can see that bright red right next to the darker red. That implies cyclonic rotation, so that's what we have to watch out for, and it's right around the Sylvan Grove area, sliding its way off to the east and also the northeast. Any additional reports coming in, Daniel?
Yeah, I don't see any of that. As Matt mentioned, the light debris on 65, and then multiple callers for a potential, what they say, tornadoes on the ground. Waiting to get more information from the National Weather Service on what they're thinking in terms of velocity, because we're seeing some weakening on radar, which is some good news. But no, we're in the National Weather Service chat room right now, waiting for more updates from emergency management, National Weather Service meteorologists, see what they're seeing as well. And of course, we'll pass those along, but nothing new right now.
Okay, bottom line, we need you in your basement if you're here in central portions of Clark County, from near Charlestown and just to the north of there, back to 65, and then off towards the east and northeast. Matt, how about this other warned storm that's down in Harrison and Floyd counties? What are you seeing right now with that?
I've been checking it out too, Jay, and overall, it may be going through a little bit of a cycle here, but recently, I don't see too much in terms of immediate rotation with that storm. It does look a little more outflow dominant, or perhaps even just kind of that rear flank downdraft, again, wrapping it around and giving a straight line winds. I still have some indications on the radar that we could be looking at 60+ mile-per-hour wind gusts between Georgetown and Lanesville. So if you're in those communities right along the Harrison and Floyd County line along Interstate 64, you are under a tornado warning, and you do want to be in your tornado safe place, basement or in a center room of your home, but as many walls between you and the storm and outside, because even though some of the rotation that I've been looking at with this storm, while still holding together, looks a little weaker. There are some signs, though, that we could have some stronger, at least straight line winds with this. Again, nearing Lanesville and perhaps as north up to Georgetown, but really right near that Interstate 64 corridor is where we have a couple of those pixels that turn into that light pink. That's some of the indications of the stronger wind gust, Jay, with this particular cell. So the overall rotation or imminent tornado threat, I think, looks to be a little bit on the weaker side, but that right there looks a little more straight line wind, or a little push out there on the rear flank of that rotation. So heading towards the Lanesville area and that Lanesville exit on 64.
Okay, Matt, thanks so very much. All right, let's pull out here, Daniel. Let's get the very latest. You can see the tornado warning that was in effect for sections of Harrison County, Floyd County, has been discontinued to this point. Hopefully that trend will continue. We still have the warning here in central portions of Clark County, immediately north of the metro, very close to Charlestown. If you live in Charlestown, surrounding communities, please get to your basement and stay there until this storm has passed on by, or weakens, or the warning is canceled. And really, that's all we have going on in the WLKY viewing area. These two cells that originated actually off to the west and southwest. And it looks like, has NWS canceled that warning?
Yeah, Jay, there was no mention of it on the chats or anything, but both of them, which I find to be a little odd because they were supposed to go until 9:45, both of them just went off all of our screens. And so we are looking at multiple sources. So both our link systems, Storm Analyzer, radar, all do not have the warnings. I do not have anything from National Weather Service that stated they were going to drop them early, but something that we're going to continue to check on. But yeah, no, your eyes are not deceiving you, Jay. Both of those warnings went off the screen there. So we'll continue to check and confirm, but potentially the warnings have been allowed to cancel a little early here.
Okay, I'm going to get you back to programming here in just a little bit, but I just want to stay on for a few more minutes just to make sure that it wasn't an equipment issue, okay? We did have a tornado warning in and close to Charlestown. We had a tornado warning that was off to the west of there, basically near the Georgetown area in Floyd County, but those have since dropped off the screen. We're thinking that those have been canceled. And as we're looking at the rotation on the radar scan, the rotation has